Hello and welcome to this second episode of Damo's podcasts. So today we're going to go further on the road of the unlocking, seeing how everyone's doing with the unlocking. How I'm doing with the unlocking. It's been quite a weird sort of experience, especially being locked in for the last year. We've all been locked in for the last year, and it doesn't seem to be quite changing as quick as possible, as quick as we'd like, but there's a lot of things going on with as we're hearing reports, as you see on the news or see on the radio programs. But I think they have their own sort of agenda. Really, they are their own sort of way of reporting. And I particularly don't take much into what I hear with the news, with the reports, because I think, as again, they've got their own agenda, they've got their own way of doing business. So this episode, I'm going to go into more of the more of what I'm doing for self-healing, seeing if this may be able to help people go through their own journeys. What I'm doing is I've got various different projects, as I said in the first podcast, I think it was last week or last episode. And recently I managed to get myself a 3D printer, which is a minefield of different things that you can go into. I'm forever going onto YouTube trying to get different hints that I'm pulling my hair out. I've already managed to make one design, one test print, and it's quite a good sort of project to start. And also I'm also carrying on obviously with the podcasts and carrying on with the stuff with the radio station, and also carrying on with me volunteering and everything, and it's all slowly but surely working out. But there's a lot of people. I know a lot of people out there that are finding this quite difficult, and that's understandable, especially with us all being locked in. And the one thing that someone said to me, which I think is quite true, is today's services are not really catered for what's happening, meaning in the fact that they're all getting overrun. Now I do have I do know at least one person working in that field, and it's a lot of I think it's more of a lot of red tape that is going through, because it's a lot of red tape where you've got quotas and stuff like that, and you've got to see this amount of people, you've got to see that amount of people, you've got to help that amount of people, you've got to help that amount of people. That is not how to do mental health, not how to do a service, especially a public funded service. If you've got a private service, then that you can do whatever you want with that. That's not being funded by the taxpayer, being funded by the people who work hard to pay their stuff, and they have to then they have to really suffer the consequences, because the one thing that person said is, there's a rule here: never get that. Don't suffer with mental health. Don't do this. Don't cry for help. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't do this. And it's not really the world that we really. It's not really my own personal sort of premise behind it. Because as detailed in my first podcast, I do suffer with mental health, and I do know quite a few people who do suffer with different types of mental health, from anxiety to manic depressant to to schizophrenia, to other things that is not really their fault, and it's just one thing leads to another, and you end up developing it, or you're basically born with most mental illnesses. People most likely are born with it, although I don't know if that's a fact. That's in my opinion. But yeah, it's a lot of to and fro in, especially when you're calling for help. I mean, me personally, I've been on and on and on and on and on at the mental health team, and there's not enough help out there. That's why if you can go out and try and volunteer for these people, these organisations, or even just set up a fundraiser. Like I'm thinking of setting up one fundraiser for mental health. I don't know what charity I'm going to do it for at the moment, but that's an idea that I've got spinning around in my brain. Many of different ideas that I've got spinning around in the good old brain. So yeah, it's one of these things where you've got it's something happens, whatever that is, and it's beyond your control, and it really takes you 5 steps back. And it's always that thing of that saying of go 1 step forward, 5 steps back, because that's what you seem to have when you suffer with mental health. You seem to make a break from it, and then all of a sudden next thing is you're right back to the way you're 5 steps back before you even know it. So it's a lot of really intricate things that are going on. It's not really easy explainable as you may be able to know by me rabbiting on. And but when I'm really passionate about things, I tend to express myself a lot more, like rabbiting on with stuff, and mental health is one of my key things that I am really red hot on, because even before I actually was labelled with clinical depression, I think that through my upbringing and through what I had to go through my medical history, which is both personal and I'm not really gonna explain it on this podcast, but not suffice it to say, I went through a lot, was in hospital a lot for most of my childhood, so that impacted on my self-development. And when I was in school, I did used to tend to sort of like keep myself to myself, sort of thing. I did tend to keep myself to myself and not really go out and experience the world, and that's why I sort of like divulged myself into computers and divulged myself into things like photography and art and like now with me 3D printing, which is pain in the backside, I must admit. It's a minefield of stuff. I highly recommend anyone to go out and get a 3D printer. This is not a sponsored video, by the way. It's just a sponsored podcast, by the way. It's just something that I recommend people to do. Just go out and do something that really, really scares you, like things like this. It scares me to hell. It scares me to hell that I'm going to mess up. But if I mess up, I mess up. If I do the worst thing that's going to happen is I'm going to do a dodgy print. And it's like before, like I've got 2 gashes on my finger where I'm like scraping the stuff off the heated plate, and the heated plate's scratched to hell, and the print itself is in the bin because that got battered. And I've got cuts on my fingers, as I said, but I'm loving the experience. And yes, I'm probably going to have to replace not the heat plate, but the bed that they call it, the glass sheet that I got with the 3D printer. But that's one thing that is part of experience, because the thing is you do things, and even if you fail at that thing, at least you've done it. That was my premise through college, through school, through college, through university, through even doing the driving lessons. If I failed, which I did fail quite a few times at the theory in the driving, I'm not really a theoretical person. Well, I am a theory person, but I'm more of a visual sort of thing. I see something, I go, oh well, what's this? And I like to tinker with it. It's like I'm now tinkering, as I said, with the 3D printer, which I know I keep going on with that, but that took me about 7 hours to do, 7 hours to build, and I'm watching this video and they're going, oh yeah, you can do this within an hour. 7 hours later, and I'm still there struggling with it. So it's it's a minefield. But back to the point of, you've got to try something that you're scared of, like this pod, like the 3D printing, as I said, like other things, like me driving. I was really, the first time I went into a car, I was petrified. I thought I was going into panic mode. I was thinking I was gonna do something. I was thinking I was gonna start the car and crash it. And it's sort of them things. It's sort of the things that you really want. You need to do something that you're afraid of. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking, I want to go out, but I'm too afraid of going out, go out into the garden. Start with something small. Go out to the garden, step out the front door, probably go in the front garden if you haven't got a back garden, or if you haven't got a garden, go out on the balcony, or go out of your apartment door in the hallway, or wherever, out of that environment where you've been stuck for a little over a year. Or the best thing that I've also doing is going on doing workshops, doing stuff like that. Just taking, if you can't physically take yourself out of that environment, at least take your mind out of that environment. That's another good thing. I'm not any psychologist. I'm not any I'm not qualified in this. No way am I qualified in this, but this is just my own personal experiences, and I think if we all share our own personal experiences and stuff like that, it makes the world a lot better place. It's like, one of my good friends is I've got quite a few very, very, very good friends that I can rely on, that I can call, that I can text, that I can do things. I can basically be my own self, and they've supported me, and I've tried my best to support them. I really don't really want to go into details, but that's my whole premise of it. So if they've got a difficulty, I go and try and support them. If I've got a difficulty, I'll hold my hands up. I'm not perfect. There's no one. Get me a man or woman who says, find me a man or woman who's perfect, and I'll shut up. But it's just one of these things where it's all these, like the magazines and stuff like that, all the supermodels and all the high gloss supermodels and stuff like that. That is the way that's what money does to you, and it's not all realistic. It's not all how everyday life, because some of the richest people in the world are some of the most are not really most happiest people in the world. I mean, I think it's that thing of money doesn't buy you happiness. But I'm really diverting to the point. If I go on tangents and other tangents and tangents, I must have a bit of Irish in me and everything. I am partly Irish and everything, but I'm more Mancunian, as you can see. And we go off tangents like nobody's business. But so anyway, so that's just a little bit of an update of what I'm doing at the moment, and a little bit of hopefully a few helpful advice pieces that you could take for the next week or so. I'm hoping to keep this ongoing every probably week or 2 weeks. If it's not every week, it's probably going to be every 2 weeks. I'm going to try and scatter these as much as I can do them, but I'm doing obviously other things in the meantime, so I probably won't have enough time to come back for probably 2, maybe 3 weeks, but I will be back for another update. So please don't forget to like and subscribe. Please do subscribe, please do comment, and I hope you have enjoyed this look. And I am currently doing a review on this 3D printer on my sister channel, on my other channel, well, on my main channel, should I say. And yeah, so that will be uploaded within the next couple of days. If it's not uploaded by the time that this is uploaded, it will be uploaded in the next couple of days after this is uploaded. But yeah, so thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and also I've set up a Facebook page, so go to that. That's in the link in the description below. Support me there, and I hope you have a good day, and I hope you enjoy the lovely weather that we're having, or the lovely weather wherever you are in the world. And I will see you all next time on another podcast.